It's time to talk horse racing once again, and that means Jon Hardoon, since it's a Friday show, which actually will be airing Thursday night because we're airing this show. We're actually producing it early Thursday evening because we have two shows that we're going to post. One is going to be for free. The other is going to be on our Patreon page at patreon.com/PrimeSN. How's it going, John?
Good, Greg. How are you?
I'm excited. This is a great time of year to be covering thoroughbred horse racing, and we have one more big Kentucky Derby prep Saturday to go before the big one next month.
Right, and you're going to probably get 6 horses that run over the weekend are going to make the top 20 because they're getting 100 points for winning and 50 points for running second. So there are 3 big races. Do the math, comes to 6 horses you're going to get that are going to break if they're not in the top 20 already.
So again, this show we're going to do is going to be the free show, and this is going to be one where we figured, hey, if there's ever going to be a week where we do double shows, and we did one about 6 weeks ago, that this was a perfect week to do it with 3 Kentucky Derby prep races, and the additional race is going to be the Carter Handicap. So we're going to do the Santa Anita Derby and the Carter Handicap on this show, our first show. And then our second show, which is going to be on our patreon.com/PrimeSN page. Again, you have to check that out. You got to decide which tier 1, tier 2. And that one is going to be the Bluegrass and the Wood Memorial. So, by the way, last week, what'd you think about the results? What'd you think about the big horse in the field? Our new favorite horse of 2022.
We gave out Cyberknife at 1380. Nothing wrong with that. We actually loved him, and we knocked the filly. And by the way, kudos to Chad Summers, who you do the Monday show with. Not many people. I'll bet very few people, as a matter of fact, did what he did. 2 months ago, he gave you a top 10 list. He put Cyberknife on top. His bracket is still intact for the most part. His 1, 2, 3 selections back 2 months ago, before these horses had any points, Chad weeded those horses out. So whoever is listening to this show and doesn't listen to Monday's show, you're missing something terrific. Both Greg and Chad do a terrific job, and Chad knows his stuff, and he really gives you a view from behind the curtain. He's giving you it from a trainer, and he's done a lot in the game, and really to pick his top 10, and for that list for the most part to be intact is amazing. I mean, he picked like a perfect bracket if you're picking the NCAA tournament, and it doesn't happen. But he did it. He really did. And he was lucky because if Cyberknife doesn't run 1, 2, his top selection for the last 2 months would have been out the window. But he was, and he did, and he ran great. And you see, I'm wearing the hat.
That's right. And we look, we're a little tiny tease, and that is next week starts a very interesting promotion. But we're not going to let you know what that is just yet. But starting next week, we have a nice little promotion going on. It has something to do with Cyberknife, because John, you actually you have some tickets, some future tickets for Cyberknife. Not at 10-1, not at 15-1, not even at 20-1. But what are the odds?
Well, the first group of tickets I bought was 76-1. He went off, but those I'm not giving away. But we did buy a couple of tickets at 36 or 35-1, and I think you're going to give one of them away anyway. It's a $20 ticket, so that comes to about, I don't know, almost $800. So someone's going to get an opportunity to buy a future bet ticket at 36 or 33-1, whatever it is.
Yeah, and then you got those hats as well. So we have to.
They're stuck on a ship somewhere from China, but eventually we'll get them, and we'll get them out to people. And listen, we have a connection to the horse. My son picked out the horse for Gold Square Stable, and he's finally living up to his potential. Still a little kooky out there. He threw the rider before the race, but he waited for him to climb back up aboard Florent Giroux. And, he's a playful little fellow, and he's like a terrible two. When you got kids, and anyone that had kids and will go through their second year when they're terrible twos, that's what he's like. But he's not harmful. He's a nice horse, and hopefully he does well in the Derby.
Yeah, so I'm showing the poll, Chad's poll, so everybody can see there with Cyberknife 1, Epicenter 2, White Bavario 3. And keep in mind, in the show that we're going to be doing next, the one with the wood and the bluegrass, 5 of Chad's horses are in those 2 races. Messier, Morello, Zandon, Forbidden Kingdom, and Emmanuel. So that's coming up on our next show. But on this show, let us turn our attention to the only race out of the 4 that is not a Kentucky Derby prep race, but it's a really good race nonetheless, and that is the Carter Handicap. It's a 6-furlong race, Grade 1, $300,000 purse, 4-year-olds and up. This will go up.
Hello, it's 7 furlongs.
Oh, what did I say? 6?
Yes.
7 furlongs. I don't even know how I said 6 if I was looking at 7. Boy, it's weird when that happens.
5 o'clock. Come on.
Yeah, right. That's probably it. I'm used to doing the shows at 9 in the morning. Okay. So anyway, let's start with the 1. And this is Reinvestment Risk. And Reinvestment Risk is a 4-to-1 shot. The good thing about this horse, again, you got Chad Brown, of course, but the good thing is the horse is coming off the 2 best races of his career, an 11 and a 10. But it's only the 3rd race since December of 2020. So that's obviously a little bit of an issue. The good thing is at least he's running a 2nd race in the same year for the first time since 2020. Also, a good thing, the best sheet for this horse was an 8, and it just happened to be at this distance at the Grade 1 Hopeful in Saratoga in September of 2020 when he ran an 8. So there's some good things. There were some issues. 4-to-1. I think I'd like a little bit more than 4-to-1, but what do you think about Reinvestment Risk?
Well, I'm not playing him at 4-to-1. I mean, this is a horse that obviously has had physical problems. He had 4 races as a 2-year-old, which was good. But then last year, only 1 race, and this year, only 1 race, and he is coming off of Lasix. The problem with this horse, can he make a forward move? Sure he can. But at 4-to-1, I think you have better options.
Okay, the 2 is a 9-to-2 shot, green light go. This horse ran a 6 in November. Since then, 8, 12. So the horse is going in the opposite direction, and that is a bad sign so far. Interesting enough, the horse has won his last 2 races. But what about green light go?
Well, this horse is cutting back in distance. His last 2 races were both at a mile. Now he's cutting back to 7 furlongs. And Jimmy Jerkins retook over the training 3 races back when he got the 6 at the end of last year. But he ran the 6, he had some time, he ran the 8, and he had more time, and he ran the 12. So he may be going in the wrong direction. And this is another one that at 9-2, I don't particularly like.
Okay, the 3 is Bank on Shea. Bank on Shea is a 15-to-1 long shot. Ran a 7 in April of 2021, changed trainers. So Carlos David took over and started with a 13, moved up to a 12. So what about, again, we're talking about a 15-to-1 long shot.
You're talking about a 5-year-old that has a total of 8 career starts. So this is another one that doesn't show up at the races. He ran 3 times as a 2-year-old, once as a 3-year-old, twice as a 4-year-old. And now he's making his 3rd start this year, so that's good. But he would have to go back to that 7 that he ran last year. And he could certainly make a forward move, but I don't think he's leaping forward to a 7.
Yeah, and again, the good thing is the horse is 15-to-1.
Right.
Okay, the 4, now this is going to be one of the top contenders, Mind Control, who ran 2nd in this race last year, which was actually the last time the horse was at this track. What you obviously like is you got the trainer change to Todd Pletcher, and all of a sudden, wow, 8 on the sheets, which actually the horse did in April of 2021, but 7 and 6 in the last 2 races following the 8. So the horse has never had 3 forward-moving races in a row like this. So what about Pletcher and Rosario, who, by the way, will be riding the horse for the first time? Mind Control at 7-2.
Yeah, this is my top selection in the race. For all the reasons you said. Pletcher took over the training, got an 8, a 7, and a 6. He runs well fresh. You know, last year, well, actually 2 years ago, he actually ran a 2 at Aqueduct. He ran a 5 at Saratoga. You know, and it's possible that Pletcher could get him back to that, but he doesn't have to get him back to that. If he runs a 6 or a 7, I think he'll be tough. I like this horse in this spot. He's the longest price out of the other. Well, he's a longer price than the other favorite in the race, the 8. And I think he's sitting on a big race off the layoff. He's 4 for 6 at Aqueduct with 2 seconds. He's never run worse than second at Aqueduct. I like this horse in this spot.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned that 2. That is without a doubt. No other horse in this field has a 2.
Well, he did it only once in his life,
sure.
But that being said, you know, he still has some 5s and 7s. He's got fast numbers. He never runs, and he's never run a bad race for Pletcher. So,
yes. So, all right, now let's move on to the 5, First Captain. And First Captain is an 8-1 shot. Ortiz is on board. First race, actually, yeah, if you look at it, even though Mind Control hasn't raced since September, First Captain hadn't raced in 6 months, but then in February, first start since then ran a 10. So that was pretty nice. It was also at this distance at 7 furlongs. It was a win, 8-1. So you're getting good numbers on a horse that's 4 for 5 lifetime. That's the good thing about this horse is the 8-1 odds.
Yeah, and the other good thing is that he's really never done anything wrong. He ran 3.11s as a 3-year-old. He came out as a 4-year-old and ran a 10. The only problem is that he would have to make a forward move because you can make a case for at least 4 or 5 other horses in this race that could run the 10. So that, you know, the 8-1 is certainly good. But as you're going to see, the next horse up, War Moccasin, you know, he ran a 10 last time out and he's 20-1. You know, I understand the line on the 5 First Captain is a lot cleaner. He only has 4 starts.
Yeah.
Where War Moccasin has 38 lifetime starts. So he's not going to start getting better in career start number 39. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, and again, you mentioned War Tossin had the 10 last time out, and I think that's like the 5th 10 of the horse's career. Hasn't done better than that, but that's another long shot, just like the 7 drafted. The difference is drafted ran a 6 last time out in February in a grade 3 win. So when you're talking about some of these long shots, which one do you favor?
Well, I would favor the 7. Even the problem with the 7 is that he ran a 6 as an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
That could finish him for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, but David Duggan is doing a good job with this horse. He has a 9, a 10, and a 6 in his last 3 races. The 6 last time out was at Aqueduct, as was the 10 and 9 before that. He's got some time off from the 6. They did the right thing. Off of the 6, they laid him up. He's not going to run a 6, but he could run a 10, and he's at least 15-1. Other horses like the 1, the 2, the 5, they could all run 10s, but they're a lot shorter price. So I'm using this horse in my exactas because of that reason.
And then the 8 is one of the other favorites, Speaker's Corner. So really, this is, as far as the favorites, it's Speaker's Corner and Mind Control. You would have to think of the 2 top favorites in this one. And Speaker's Corner, coming off a 6 last time out, only has 2 bad races over 8 in the horse's career. Everything else is a 10 or better, including a 6 and 2 7s.
Well, if you look at this sheet closely, you can see that he never really puts races together. Last year, he ran a 7, bounced to a 19, came back to the 7, bounced to the 9. Now, last time out, he ran a 6. He's going to go backwards, and he's going to be the big favorite. He's 8-5 morning line favorite. He'll probably go off a lot shorter than that. And he's giving weight up to most of the rest of the field. He's only giving up a pound to the 4 Mind Control. But I think the 4 is a better bet at the price. The 4 puts races together. He's coming off of a freshening. He's never run a bad race for Pletcher since Pletcher had him. I like the 4. I'm using the 7 and 8 and exact is underneath. 4 over 7, 8 is my play in this year's Carter Handicap.
Who do you think is going to go off as the favorite? Speaker's Corner or Mind Control?
Speaker's Corner will definitely be, well, not definitely. I assume him to be the favorite.
Okay. Let's now move on to first of 3 Derby prep races with the Santa Anita Derby. The Runhappy Santa Anita Derby, Grade 1 purse, $750,000. Horse for 3-year-olds. I mentioned this on the show on Monday with Chad, that because Chad said that the field was going to be really small, and so when he said that, I was like, of course. I mean, because we've talked about that all season. That's the reason why we haven't really done a lot of races from Santa Anita. And I understand what the excuse is. I get it, but it's still disappointing. You take a look at the entire card, and it's like almost every race is like 5 or 6 horses.
Well, look at Saturday's card. They have all those stake races, and they have all short fields. And this is a ridiculous race, to be honest with you. There are 6 horses entered. Baffert, or not Baffert, old Baffert horses are 2 of the 6.
Half of them.
Right, Messier and Tayaba, whatever his name is. Those 2 horses he has, and those are fast horses. But listen, let's go through it, and let's show everyone what we're talking about.
Oh, by the way, he's also got Armagnac.
Yeah, so he's got 3 of the 6 horses.
Yep. So it's basically 3 for Baffert, 2 for O'Neill, and 1 for Mandela. So
right.
We'll start with the 1, Happy Jack, a 20-1 long shot. And this is the one of 2 horses for O'Neill. And if we're looking for a long shot, and again, just trying to talk about what's good about Happy Jack, he starts his career off with an 11, which is impressive. Has a really bad second race. Maybe that's to be expected. Who knows? Comes back with a 15 in the 3rd race. So this is definitely, it's only a 3-year-old, a horse to keep an eye on if he performs well on Saturday.
Yeah, but I don't give him much of a shot.
The 2 has no shot. This is one of those Baffert horses we just mentioned. Yeah, this horse doesn't have a good line at all.
No, and he's slow besides everything else.
All right, now here's one of the favorites, Forbidden Kingdom. And this is the other thing that's you got Forbidden Kingdom and Messier, and really with the 6-horse field and not much to worry about, it's going to be interesting to see how they attack the race, because both horses usually want the lead. Now, they've raced against each other in the Bob Hope. Forbidden Kingdom had the lead in that race, and Messier came off the lead and passed Forbidden Kingdom late for the win. So this is the 6-5 shot to number 3 horse, who has back-to-back 9s to start 2022. And that happened after the Bob Hope runner-up to Messier when he ran a 17.
Yes, and yes. Everything you're saying is true. But there's something about this horse that just doesn't rub me right.
Yeah.
I don't like the 2-year-old races. He ran a 14 first out. Then he ran on the grass a 17 and a 17. Then all of a sudden this year he comes out and he runs the 9. Well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And he runs another one when trying 2 turns for the first time. I think he may react off of this 9. I could be wrong, and I don't know if he wants to go a mile and an eighth either. That's another problem for him. But that being said, you got to respect the 9s. You got to respect Mandela. But how do you plan on making any money in this race? I'm going to take a crazy shot with a horse that probably won't run. But when we get to him, we'll talk about him. Next up is Messier. Messier at least had the 12s as a 2-year-old.
Yes.
That's good. Where Forbidden Kingdom only had 17 he had 114. So this horse, again, had 12s as a 2-year-old, and he had a distance race as a 2-year-old at Los Alamitos, and he comes out and runs the 8, and he's got time from the 8. I just think that he's better than Forbidden Kingdom. But we also have to worry about the fact that these horses are no longer trained by Baffert, or so they say. I'm sure Baffert's on the phone with them and telling them what to do and everything else. I don't believe he's not training them. He may not be training them in name, but he's certainly there, And Velasquez, by the way, opted for this horse over staying in New York to ride that Pletcher horse that we were talking about.
The New York.
Yeah, mind control, but this is $750,000 race. Excuse me. That's why he's here. The other race was only $300,000. Not only that, if this horse runs 1-2, he's going to the Derby, and Velasquez will have a Derby mount. So all that being said, I think Messier's the horse to beat, but I don't know if I'm betting him.
All right. Well, now I'm guessing, I don't know, that maybe this is the horse you're talking about. Win the Day, the 20-1 shot.
No, but you were talking about the one at 20-1, and that's the other O'Neill horse in the race.
Yes.
This O'Neill horse to me is much stronger.
Absolutely. It's because he's coming off the 11 and started with a 13.
But the first two races will also both run on the turf.
Yes.
Last time there's one and only try on the dirt.
Yep.
I mean, he's 20-1.
Yes.
You know, there are stranger ideas than this at 20-1.
Yes.
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I'm simpatico with you on this one. To me, I'm going to hope that, and the other thing too, let's keep in mind, like I said, Messier beat Forbidden Kingdom, so he does have that. So if Messier beats Forbidden Kingdom here and Win the Day can hit the board second, and we got a halfway decent payout in a race like this, which is kind of hard to do because you got this Tayeba horse at 4-1.
Yeah, look. And listen, if you're betting the 5, you want to try to split the exactor. You're not going to make any money betting 3-4-4-3. That's for sure.
No.
Okay, and if one of them stub their toes and this horse repeats the 11 or makes a forward move, why not?
Yes.
But now comes the $1 million question. What do you do with Tayeba?
Yeah.
He ran once a 7.
That's awesome.
But here's the awesome part of it. The awesome part is that he's out of Gunrunner. Gunrunner is who Cyberknife's father is also. These horses don't do much better in running longer distances.
Okay.
Gun runners are not sprinters for the most part. This is a gun runner that ran a 7 sprinting. So who knows? Who knows what he could do? You know, he could make a forward move and run a 5 and beat them all.
Yes.
This is the horse that I'm just going to take a shot with and bet that he moves forward or repeats off the 7 because he's by gun runner. So listen, the 4 is yet to run a 7, Messier. The 5 Forbidden Kingdom hasn't run a 7.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And neither has Win the Day run a 7.
Yeah.
Why not just take this horse? He's 4-1. Chances are he's probably going to react off of the 7. But he is out of gun runner, and they're bred to run all day long. And for that reason, this is my top selection in this race.
All right. It's very rare that you go with the inexperienced horse, but I like the call. And
it's because of the price and the breeding.
What number wouldn't you go under? 4-1?
He'll be 4-1 because they're going to be betting so much money on those two horses. You know,
I'm actually surprised if you didn't get better odds.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I got 5 or 6-1.
Yeah.
You know.
All right.
And it's not easy to run a 7 first out, and this horse did it also. So.
And I'm definitely going to play Win the Day to make some money somehow and hope he hits the board.
Put him underneath somewhere and hope something happens.
Yeah. Okay, so that is it for our first show. Again, coming up, we are going to be handicapping the Bluegrass Stakes as well as the Wood Memorial, and that will be coming up on our Patreon page at patreon.com/PrimeSN. John, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you in a matter of seconds.
Okay, Greg. Thank you.